If you've ever been somewhere the sun seems to have forgotten, then you know what it's like to feel trapped in a gray eternity. But if you haven't, let me tell you, San Isidro del Valle is something worse. Something even the brightest light can't touch. My name is Mateo, and when I arrived in the village 2 months ago, I thought it would be a quiet place to write my novel. The fresh air, the green fields, the adobe houses, it all looked like a postcard. But something felt off from the very beginning. The old folks barely spoke, the kids laughed nervously as they ran around, and at night, no one went outside. Because there are things that shouldn't be seen, some would whisper. And even though I didn't understand what they meant at first, I would soon find out. It all started with that church. The first day I saw the bell tower, I felt something was wrong. It was as if the chapel were made of solid shadows. No matter the time of day, it was always dark there. Not even dawn or midday could light it up. The sunlight just stopped. Like an invisible hand pushed it away. "Why is it so dark over there?" I asked one afternoon to an elderly woman selling fruit in the market. She stopped weighing the apples and looked at me like I'd just insulted her mother. Then, without answering, she walked off murmuring something under her breath. I stood there, frozen, still holding my money, as the rest of the vendors pretended not to see me. That's when one of them, a young man with a hard face, walked up and said, "Don't go near that church. Ever." And though I wanted to ask more, he was already gone, leaving me alone with a warning I didn't understand. At first, I thought it was just superstition. Small towns always have weird stories, right? Ghosts, legends, curses, but nothing real. So, I decided to investigate on my own. After all, what could possibly happen? That was a mistake. One night, unable to sleep from the suffocating heat, I went for a walk around town. The streets were empty, only the sound of crickets broke the silence. I walked aimlessly, thinking about my characters, when I realized I had wandered too close to the church. I could see it in the distance, shrouded in a thick, almost tangible darkness. It was like the air itself refused to enter that place. Then I heard it. A low, guttural sound, like a whisper coming from everywhere and nowhere. I froze, heart pounding so hard I thought the whole town could hear it. I looked around, but there was no one. Just me in that church. But the sound didn't stop. It grew louder, like broken words I couldn't quite understand. A chill ran down my spine. I wanted to leave, to run back to my room and forget what I'd heard, but something held me in place. My feet felt like lead, and the more I tried to move, the heavier they became. Then, from within the church's darkness, something moved. It wasn't a normal movement, like a person walking. It was more like the shadow itself peeled away from the walls and began to move toward me. My breathing quickened. I wanted to scream, but my throat was paralyzed. The shadow grew, spreading like ink on paper, until it completely surrounded me. And then, I saw it. Or rather, I felt it. A face, vaguely human, emerged from the darkness in front of me. Its eyes were infinite voids, empty, and its mouth opened in a smile with no lips. I wanted to look away, but I couldn't. I was trapped, frozen, while that thing stared at me with a burning intensity. And then, as quickly as it appeared, it vanished. I found myself back on the street, gasping, sweating, heart about to burst from my chest. I looked toward the church, but this time, there was no movement. Only that impenetrable darkness, patiently waiting. The next morning, I went straight to the village bar. I needed answers, and I knew someone had to talk. The place was half empty, just a few old men playing cards at a table in the back. I sat at the bar and ordered a coffee. The owner, a chubby man with a graying mustache, looked at me with suspicion before serving it. "What are you doing here so early?" he asked, wiping a glass with a dirty rag. "Couldn't sleep," I replied, trying to sound casual. "I heard something weird near the church last night." The owner stopped wiping and stared at me. "I told you not to go near it." "No one told me anything," I shot back, frustrated. "I just want to know what's going on with that place." There was a long silence. Finally, the owner sighed and leaned over the bar, lowering his voice as if afraid someone might hear. "Years ago, before you were born, that church was the heart of the town. Everyone went there to pray, to marry, to baptize their kids. But one night, something changed. I waited in silence. They say a group of men entered the church during a storm. No one knows exactly what they did, but the next day, the church was different. Dark. Silent. And ever since, no one who enters comes out alive." A chill ran through me. "What do you mean, doesn't come out alive?" The owner shrugged. "Some say it's a curse. Others believe something lives in there. The only thing that's certain is that those who go in don't come back. Or, if they do, they're not the same." I shouldn't have done it. I should have left town, forgotten everything, and moved on with my life. But I couldn't. Something about the story gripped me, something I couldn't ignore. So I decided to investigate myself. I got a flashlight, a camera, and a notebook. I also brought a recorder. I wanted to capture anything I could. I knew it was dangerous, but curiosity was stronger than fear. I reached the church at sunset. The sun was slowly going down, but as always, the chapel remained cloaked in shadow. I took a deep breath and started walking toward the entrance. With each step, the air grew denser, heavier. When I reached the door, my flashlight trembled in my hand. I pushed the door open gently. It creaked like it was protesting being disturbed. Inside, it was pitch black. I turned on the flashlight and shined it inside. The walls were covered in dust, the pews broken and scattered on the floor. The altar was covered in cobwebs, and the crucifix hanging above it was crooked, as if someone had ripped it with fury. I began to explore, documenting everything with the camera. It all looked normal, though hauntingly abandoned. But then something caught my eye. On the floor, near the altar, was a circle drawn in ash. Inside the circle were symbols I didn't recognize. They looked ancient, strange, and they glowed faintly under the flashlight's beam. "What the hell?" I muttered. Then I heard a noise behind me. I turned quickly, but no one was there. Just the echo of my own footsteps in the silence. "Relax, Mateo," I told myself. "It's just your imagination." But it wasn't. Suddenly, the flashlight began to flicker. I turned it off and on, but it didn't work. Then the darkness swallowed me completely. I was trapped. And then, I saw it. From the shadows, a figure slowly emerged. Tall, thin, with limbs too long. Its head was a shapeless mass, like it was made of black smoke. It floated more than it walked, and those empty eyes pierced my soul. I wanted to run, but my legs wouldn't move. I was frozen, helpless, as that thing came closer and closer. I don't know how much time passed. Maybe seconds. Maybe hours. When I woke up, I was outside the church, lying on the ground. The sun was rising, but the chapel was still just as dark. I stood up, trembling, my body numb and my mind in a fog. I went back to town, but something had changed. The villagers glanced at me from the corners of their eyes, like they knew something I didn't. No one spoke to me. And when I tried to approach someone, they quickly moved away. Eventually, the bar owner stopped me one night. "What did you see in there?" he asked, fear and curiosity mixed in his voice. "I don't know," I said, my throat tight. Something I can't explain." He nodded slowly. "I knew you shouldn't have gone. Now you're part of it." "Part of what?" I asked, frustrated. "The church," he started, but didn't finish the sentence. Instead, he pointed at my arm. I looked down, and what I saw froze my blood. Carved into my skin, right above the wrist, was one of the symbols I had seen in the ash circle. It glowed faintly, like it was alive. What does this mean?" I stammered. He shook his head. "It means it's looking for you now. And it won't stop until it finds you. It's been weeks since that night, but I can't escape. Wherever I go, I feel its presence stalking me. The darkness of the church follows me, even far from the village. Sometimes, in the middle of the night, I hear that guttural whisper, like something is about to step out from the shadows. I've tried burning the symbol, cutting it, tearing it out, but it won't disappear. It's there, like an unbreakable mark that binds me to that cursed church. I know I'll go back soon. I don't have a choice. The church is calling me, and I can't resist. Because now I'm part of it. And I will never leave."